This fund gained 1,000% in 2 years. Then it lost 67% in 1 month. $45 billion run on 400% leverage by one of the most celebrated minds in AI. Losing money is not a crime, and nobody here has been charged with anything. But $35 billion does not vanish in 24 days by accident. It vanishes by design. The design is the story. The man is Leopold Aschenbrenner. In his early 20s, he worked at OpenAI. In 2024, he published an essay series called Situational Awareness about where AI is going, and Silicon Valley passed it around like scripture. The fame was real, and fame in finance is a fundraising instrument. Within months, he had a hedge fund named after the essay. What he did with the money is where this stops being a story about talent. The fund launched in July 2024. 2 years later, it was up more than 1,000% and managing around $45 billion. Those are numbers most managers never touch in a lifetime. But here's the thing about 1,000% in 2 years. Returns like that do not come from being right. They come from being right multiplied, and the multiplier has a name. Leverage. The reports put it at up to 400% for every dollar investors gave him. Roughly $4 in the market, the difference borrowed. We described leverage once before on this channel as a firecracker taped to a stick of dynamite, and nothing about that has changed. 4-to-1 turns a 10% gain into 40. It turns 1,000% story into a magazine cover, and multiplication works in both directions. It was about to. July 2026. The AI infrastructure stocks he was betting on fell. His positions dropped between 35 and 47%. That alone would hurt at 4-to-1. But the fund was also betting against software companies like Adobe, and those bets went wrong at the same time. Read that again. Both sides of the book lost at once. When you are leveraged 4-to-1 and both sides go wrong, you do not get a bad month. You get a phone call. The calls came from the banks that lend a fund its leverage. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Bank of America. A margin call is simple. Put up more money now, or we sell your positions for you. 3 of his lenders called. The fund could not honor the calls. And once that happens, the fund no longer decides what it sells, or when, or to whom. Somebody else does. And in a fire, there is always exactly one kind of buyer. The buyer was Citadel, Ken Griffin's firm, which reportedly made what one account called a historic killing on the liquidation, buying a book that had to be sold from a seller who had no choice, at prices the fire set. Jane Street, itself reportedly an investor in the fund, took losses with everyone else. When the smoke cleared, $45 billion had become roughly $35 billion, gone in about a month. And the strangest part of this story is what happened next. Because we have seen this exact film, 1998, a fund run by the smartest people alive, Nobel laureates, posting returns that looked like typos on leverage that made them possible until both sides of their book went wrong at once and Wall Street had to unwind them in a room. That was long-term capital management. The full case file is on this channel. 27 years later, the machine ran again. Same inputs, same output, different genius. Which raises the only question that matters. Now the fairness beat, because there is one and it matters. In '98, the Federal Reserve had to gather Wall Street in a room to prevent a chain reaction. This time there was no bailout, no emergency meeting, no taxpayer anywhere near it. The market was calm, the lenders were paid, the system held, and the losses landed on the people who signed up for them. That is genuinely better. But notice what did not change, and watch what the survivor did. Weeks after losing $35 billion of other people's money, Leopold Aschenbrenner is reportedly already raising again. And reports say money is coming. That is not an accusation. It is the most honest fact in the whole case, because it tells you the demand side never learns. The genius myth survived LTCM. It's survived every blow-up since. It will survive this one. By lunchtime, the only person who can decline the next round of this game is the person holding the money. So here is the pattern, and it has not changed in 27 years. Brilliance picks the positions, but the leverage decides the outcome. At 4-to-1, being wrong for 1 month, the race is being right for 2 years. The math does not negotiate, and it does not care how famous you are. Nobody here committed a crime. This is not investment advice. It is one warning, the same one from our speedrun file. The first move in every blown up account, from $45 billion to $400, is the same move. This file stays open. Subscribe.